He's got the red, white, blue, flying high on the farm. Semper Fi tattooed on his left arm. Spent a little more in the store for a tag. In the back it says USA. He won't buy nothing and he can't fix. With WD-40 and a Craftsman wrench, he ain't prejudiced. He's just made in America.
Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Costa Mesa Pettis Perspective, episode number 7. First of all, it'd be helpful if you guys could subscribe to the YouTube channel and like this so we can help keep the channel going. It has nothing to do with monetization, just tracking. So tonight what we're going to do is talk about a couple of things. What I'm going to do is, based on some feedback I've gotten from the folks, we're going to try and keep these videos 10 minutes or under. We're going to see how it goes. It's always been a challenge just because of the nature of the council meetings. They're long and there's a lot there. What I've decided to do is just take the things that I think that the citizens would most likely want to hear about and report on those and offer some of my commentary, and we'll keep them brief, under 10 minutes, and that is the goal. First and foremost, so there was a couple things in the council meeting, just the general meeting, that I thought were important and good for the people to know. So the airway shelter, right now for the homeless temporary shelter, we've got the Lighthouse Church, which has served as a temporary spot for our homeless shelter, and the airway project at 3175 Airway looks like to be completed May 1st. Transition will be complete, and one of the neat things I thought was IKEA is donating furniture, mural work, and there are some pictures shown that indicate this is going to be a pretty neat deal, and it's good to see that happening. Secondly, the Anduril Defense Tech Company, it's a big defense tech company, is going to occupy the former former LA Times printing plant, and it's going to, they say they project 2,500 jobs within the next few years. It's one of the largest office leases in Orange County history. It's a total of 640,000 square foot transactions, so that's coming soon to Costa Mesa. I think that's a big deal, and that's great to hear. So what we had on back on the 29th of January was this council got together for an all-day strategic planning meeting. That there was some controversy involved because the public was only able to call in and listen to it audibly. No Zoom Connect, no documents available. Finally, they get toward the end of the council meeting, they went over this, and I was able to, you can find the documents, there's a link to a link inside there, but you can actually get them, and it's titled the 6-month strategic objectives. There's 5 breakout sessions that the council members each broke out into, and the main heading is the 3-year plan, but each breakout indicates it's a 6-month objective. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the 5 of them. The first one is the recruit and retain high-quality staff. That's the 3-year goal. And I'll just quickly, these are all expected to run through July. These are the 6-month objectives. Develop recommendations for City Council considering regarding increased staffing to address critical needs. Develop framework for market analysis of employee compensation to hard-to-fill positions and present the results to the city manager. Issue a request and proposal for a consultant who will identify opportunities to innovate and modernize recruitment, hiring, retention, through succession, and talent management. And develop a framework for robust training, mentorship, and leadership development program, and present to the results of the city manager. So I think that's great. I think that we do need to have the best. The interesting part I thought about this was when I was running for council in 2020, there was this big $30 million deficit that was projected to have, and then it went away. And a lot of the savings were 5% furloughs, saved the city $3 million, a reduction in staff, and the defunding of 14 full-time positions. And now they're projecting in 6 months in 2021, they're touting a lot of new hiring, a lot of money being spent. So we're saving money. Now we're in the next 6 months looking to spend a lot of money. I just thought it was worth pointing out. Okay, the second breakout, the 3-year goal, the overarching goal is to achieve long-term fiscal sustainability. Of course, it's a good one. What we know about government at the city, state, federal level, we don't make anything. They don't make widgets. So it's all going to be based on taxation from the citizens. And so developing they're talking about here is present the Measure Q cannabis permitting fees. So they're looking to bring in revenue from Measure Q, which is the cannabis shops, retail sales, develop the scope for the economic development planning consulting contract and present to City Council. And finally, develop and define a quarterly reporting format, including financial metrics to improve fiscal transparency and report to the City Council and FIPAC. So this was a Harper involvement. I know he was in this breakout, and I put Harper nice exclamation point. It's something that's needed. I know that we have annual budgetary outlooks, and we have reports, but having the transparency there in an understandable, readable format when they're talking about money that's coming and going, to have a transparent report to refer to is something they're committing to doing here. The third breakout, the 3-year overarching goal is to strengthen public safety and keep the community safe. And the main one, the fire chief here, was provide updates to the City Council regarding management of COVID pandemic. That's one of the objectives, 6 month. Establish a community communication and engagement plan. Develop approaches to mitigate collisions and injuries. And develop a plan for expanding community policing and reporting to the council. Now, this one is the COVID thing. I thought was an interesting one. I know Harper talked about this some in the actual planning. It was in a news report. He questioned this, and I agree. The fire chief reporting of COVID is something that I don't think is an objective. I mean, COVID right now, I mean, that isn't something that should be listed, in my view, on a strategic plan, especially 6 months going out as a major objective for a city strategic plan. This is the Liberty alert for today. We missed Liberty last week because it was a special edition. This will be the third consecutive running for Ms. Harrison, the city manager. And on this, she spent a lot of time talking about COVID. She always talks about COVID. Now, again, I work in healthcare. I've been vaccinated by Moderna. I think it's an important topic. But she used this time when going over this plan, talking about, these are quotes here. I quote, lockdowns have worked, or lockdowns are working, or have worked. And actually, that's not, I think you would say herd immunity is working, social distancing is working, masking is working, but lockdowns, there's no evidence for that to be stated as a reason that the COVID numbers are declining. And she said it as a matter of fact, kind of objective, quantitative point. Also, she said we still have two of the three metrics. We're in the purple now. She said hopefully we can get out of into the red in the coming weeks. And I think that it's almost, to me, it's a narrative being pushed, and she does this in every council meeting I've reported on or looked at. It's almost like COVID is the everything is laid at the altar of COVID. Spending, not spending, opening, not opening. And she actually dropped in a small detail at the end of her talk on it. She said there's a $350 billion pot of money coming to state and local governments. So basically, to me, it feels like we want this money to get us out of some financial mismanagement. I know this is weaved into this public safety narrative. I just wanted to make that point because I think COVID, what's really happening is we're into herd immunity now, and we have vaccinations happening, and we should be looking forward to getting out of it in a short few weeks. What I didn't see in this part of the plan, public safety and keeping the community safe, was homelessness. Now it's curious to me because when I was out campaigning in 2020, I would say that's probably the most frequently brought up issue by citizens, and homelessness was not in this plan in any of the 5 breakouts, and it's a major issue. And she briefly mentioned it in ongoing projects starting back in 2019 that didn't make it. So my view is that anything that was ongoing and not finished or is still working should be in the current strategic plan going forward. Homeless crisis was in there somewhat in the ongoing. There was not a mention of it in any of these 6 or 5 breakouts for the 6-month objectives under the 3-year strategic plan. And actually, I have to give kudos to Mayor Foley. It is something that she actually, as I was thinking that very thing and taking my notes, she actually began questioning City Manager Harrison. and asking why this was the case, old things. She didn't mention homelessness, but she wanted to know why old issues were not in here. So I think that's great, and there was not an answer, and basically Ms. Harrison said, could we talk about this offline? So I think it's great. Homelessness needs to be in here. It's a big deal. And we have the fourth breakout was maintain and enhance the city's infrastructure, facilities, equipment, and technology. The quick sub-bullets are implement IT backup, present the pedestrian master plan, develop long-range facility and equipment needs, provide an update to the City Council on development of the community center, Shalimar Park, and Ketchum Liebelt Park. And finally, this was snuck in there at the end, review the community workforce agreement and present to city manager for future city council action. And now the people, the who on this is Council Member Chavez Gameros with the Public Services Director and the City Attorney. Now the community workforce agreement's a big deal. I'm not a fan at all. I actually did video on this during the campaign season. This is a big labor goodie handout from Foley to the unions. Basically, long story short, the city can't have any capital improvement projects working that aren't involved with the labor unions aren't directly calling the shots in the construction of these projects. And to have Manuel Chavez overseeing this, I think there are better choices. It doesn't give me comfort. I would like to see Harper, even Jeff Harlan. I would like to see somebody with some more depth and critical thinking ability and more chops to be handling such a big issue. And finally, there is the fifth breakout, 3-year goals: diversify, stabilize, and increase housing to reflect community needs. And I'm going to be quick on this one. It's a complete resource planning to implement long-term programs such as ADUs, STRs. We're talking about the Granny Flats. We've already talked about that in that previous video. Evaluate and identify short-term and long-term staffing needs. Complete a public review draft housing element, and present a development program to the City Council for senior housing and the senior center site. So my main notes here were the big watch out is let's watch out for private property rights in the R1, R2 neighborhoods. There seems to be a concerted effort from Foley and her ilk to really move into rezoning the R1, R2 neighborhoods for possibly having low income housing. And I know that's the second most asked about topic to me in my area here in District 6 is the private property rights of individuals. That's it for now. Be kind to yourself. Be good to each other. Together we can get it done. Bye for now.